Chapter 25, A Vicious Circle. Before I start chapter 25 today, you'll notice that I'm outdoors today. We in our family created a campground. Now that the weather's turning nicer, we decided to do some of our learning outside. So we have been camping in our backyard and on our patio. We play camp games. We have special spots where we can do some of our work. We even made s'mores in our campground. But you can see behind me, I have my campground lit up with the trees and the boat and the tent. And we've even made a tent on our patio for some of our reading. So I come to you today with chapter 25 from my campground, A Vicious Circle. Makery Sal called the man who purchased her uncle, as he had said she must. Also, as she must, Mig tended Uncle's sheep, and cooked Uncle's food, and scrubbed Uncle's kettle. She did all of this without a word of thanks or praise from the man himself. So do we now know why he bought this girl? To make her
do all the work.
Do all of her work. Yeah, to make her a servant. Another unfortunate fact of life with Uncle was that he very much liked giving Mig what he referred to as a good clout in the ear. In fairness to Uncle, it must be reported that he always did inquire whether or not Mig was interested in receiving the clout. Their daily exchanges went something like this. What's a daily exchange? If you exchange something, you give something back and forth. So their daily exchanges were the talking that they did back and forth. And it sounded like this. Uncle, I thought I told you to clean the kettle. Mig, I cleaned it, Uncle. I cleaned it good. Uncle, it's filthy. You have to be punished, won't ye? Mig, Gore, Uncle. I cleaned the kettle. Uncle, are you saying that I'm a liar, girl? Mig, no, Uncle. Uncle, do you want a good clout to the ear then? Mig, no thank you, Uncle. I do not. Alas, Uncle seemed to be entirely unconcerned with what Mig wanted, about as unconcerned as her mother and father had been. The discussed clout to the ear was always delivered, I'm afraid, with a great deal of enthusiasm on Uncle's part. Enthusiasm is when you really get into it. He's giving the clout to the ear, and he's really into it, meaning, it was received with no enthusiasm on the part of Mig. So Uncle, doing the clout, boom, was doing it with enthusiasm. Mig was not enthusiastic about this. These clouts were alarmingly frequent. What does that mean if it's frequent?
Happens a lot.
Like,
it happens often. Alarmingly frequent would be it's happening often. We would say too often. And Uncle was scrupulously fair in paying attention to both the right side and the left side of Makery Sal. So it was after a time that her young ears became to resemble not ears, but pieces of cauliflower.
Oh, yeah.
They were stuck to either side of her head. That makes me want to cry. Makery Sal is being beaten, and her ears no longer look like ears because they've been damaged. And they became about as useful as pieces of cauliflower. See, that is to say, they all but ceased functioning as ears. Words for Mig lost their sharp edges, and then they lost their edges altogether, and they became blurry, blankety things that she had a great deal of trouble making any sense of at all. The less Mig heard, the less she understood. So not only did all of the beating make her ears look like cauliflower, but they don't work. She can't hear very well. The more things she misunderstood, the more she did wrong. The more she did wrong, the more she got a clout to the ear. And the less she heard. This is what's known as a vicious circle. And Makery Sal was right in the center of it, which is not, reader, where anyone would want to be. But then, as you know, Miggery Sow wanted, that had never been a concern to anyone.